Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. I hope everyone can hear me well and can see me well. Hi, Chiro, can you see me well? Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can. I can.
Perfect, perfect. So let's begin with, again, good evening, everyone. My name is Prachi Shah, and I am the Senior Investor Relations Manager at CMB Regional Centers. I have been associated with the company since 5 years now, and I had the opportunity to work from India for about 2 years in this 5 years. Originally from India, and I have been particularly focusing on the South Asian market. So I basically help foreign nationals in pursuing EB5 visa from India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan as well. I would also like to give a very warm welcome to our guest speaker today, Mr. Chiranjaya Nanayakkara, also known as Chiro, who is the managing attorney of Willi Nanayakkara and Associates. Mr. Chiro has an extensive practice in family and business immigration matters, and in fact, he has been admitted before the US District Court for the Southern District of Texas. His primary practice actually includes EB1, EB2, EB5 categories, as well as family immigration matters. Hi, Chiro, a very warm welcome to you. How are you today?
Doing very well, Prachi. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm glad to be here with you and the CMB, which is one of the premier and oldest regional centers in the nation. Thank you
Thank
again
you.
for having
Thank
me.
you. Thank you. Of course, it's absolutely a pleasure to have you. Just before we begin our presentation, I would just like to say that the attendees, you're currently muted. Your webcams are turned off. If you have any questions for us, please go ahead and write down your questions in the Q&A tab, as you can see here on the screen. And we plan to take each and every question post our presentation. So we'll make sure we answer as many as questions possible. About today's agenda, what do we plan to cover today? We want to explain you what is EB5. We want to make sure you understand what is a regional center and why would one need a regional center if they're planning to pursue EB5. What are the current projects and why does one need to choose or retain an immigration attorney if you're planning to pursue EB5? What is the importance of an immigration attorney? To begin with, what is EB5? Now, EB5 is basically employment-based category number 5 visa, which basically says that a foreign national can invest a certain capital. They have to fulfill certain requirements. And once they fulfill these requirements, that's when the family can achieve permanent residency or permanent green card in the United States. So EB5 is basically green card through investment, and it is ideal for any foreign national, I would say qualified foreign national. So basically families, professionals, entrepreneurs, or retired people. And via EB5, once you apply for EB5, it's basically a path to citizenship, a path to get a passport of United States. Now, Chiro, what are these requirements for EB5? When one is looking into EB5, what do they need to fulfill in order to get the green card?
It's the answer to your question is it's a very comprehensive answer, but I'll try and go through the salient points under this program so everyone can get a feel for it. One should invest, one should invest his or her individual funds amounting up to 1.8 million or 900,000 in a commercial enterprise in the United States. And that commercial enterprise must be able to create 10 new full-time jobs in the United States for the said investment. So these funds the investor is investing must have been obtained legally. This means this could be your lifelong earnings, a sale of a legally obtained property, or a loan from a bank, or a gift, for that matter, from a rich uncle or a parent. Uh, one must be wondering why on earth he or she should invest 1.8 when I said 900,000 is enough. It is because if you're a commercial enterprise in a city which is defined as a rural or TEA, targeted employment area, then you qualify as a 900,000. But otherwise, if you want to invest in Fifth Avenue in New York, then it's 1.8 million. Okay, and then you must be wondering, okay, great, I'm going to invest on a $2 million property house in the United States. No, it won't qualify because it is dubbed as a passive investment as against a commercial investment. It can't create 10 jobs, even though you have enough gardeners, 10 gardeners, but it is not a commercial operation in order to qualify for a EB5 program. So, you have to create 10 jobs, which is 35 hours a week, which which must pay at least the minimum wage in that state or the nation. Now, again, then the investor must be wondering now, I'm in Sri Lanka, or India, or Dubai, or wherever you are. How am I going to do all this by being here? The USCIS will issue you a conditional green card after you invest that amount in a commercial enterprise, partly, or I mean, you after you invest that whole amount in a commercial enterprise and bring that money to the United States, then the USCIS will issue you a conditional green card based on your projections, based on your crisp business plan and economic impact reports. Now, this process is called filing an I-526, showing the USCIS, hey, I have invested this money, I have put my money at risk. And when that happens, the USCIS will approve the I-526, then which means you will get a conditional green card valid for 2 years, where you need to complete the investment, get the commercial operation running, and create the 10 jobs. Okay. Now, this is the reason we now remember, if you do not meet these regulation requirements, then you may have your 500,000 invested, you could create the 10 jobs, you may not get the green card. Now, anyone who has been in business knows how tough to do this, all this within 2 years. Now, this is the reason we advise you to leave the business part and the commercial part to a regional center, such as CMB or a good CMB, so they can provide you the passage in the commercial investment and create the 10 jobs like your guys, while you concentrate in getting into United States and pursuing your career, whatever the field
Right,
you.
right, right. I just wanted to say it's $900,000 in a TA area and 1.8 million in a non-TA area. So if one is pursuing either of this capital investment, do they just need to show the capital, or do they need to have, let's say, a particular educational background? What about language? Because I know, like, sometimes I have clients in India, and in fact, even in Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, they sometimes cannot speak English. And a lot of times they ask me that when I go for the interview, what if I cannot speak English? So for this visa, do we have such requirements?
No, on EB5, you don't have that requirement. You don't have to be able to speak English. You don't have to be able to, education requirement. I mean, if you look at the best billionaires in this country, such as Bill Gates, he can speak English, but he is a dropout.
Right.
Right? So, like that in India, I know even in Sri Lanka, there are so many rich folks who has made great strides in the commercial industry and made a lot of money, who don't have degrees, or if they can't speak English, that's fine. But if you are going to the next step, of naturalization, then yes, of course, you need to have your English.
So you mean to say naturalization in the sense of applying for citizenship after green card?
Citizenship. After the green card, after the 5 years, you to get the passport.
Okay, okay. All right. And what about this $900,000 and 1.8 million? What kind? I know you mentioned that it can come from family, friends, gifts, or loan. Are there any particular laws when it comes to respective countries? Like I know India has laws. I know a little bit of Sri Lanka also has laws. So
Yeah,
so as an attorney, what would you say when it comes to investing such a huge amount?
that's where we come in as attorneys. We go through your documents, analyze your documents, and make sure those documents meet the standards of the United USCIS requirements. And if it doesn't, because each country has its own way of doing it, then we need to make it, package it in such a way to present it to the USCIS officer. Hey, this is the way it's business done, and we have to provide evidence of such business done in those countries, and this is the way the things are moving. Now, for that matter, if you have lifelong earnings, your tax returns, bank statements showing that accumulation of funds, those documented, we had to sift through and to see it. There are no sudden deposits which are not unaccounted to make sure. Then you say, oh, yeah, my uncle gave me that. I gave him a loan long time ago. Okay, we need to document that. Oh, we didn't have any documents. Okay, we have vehicles. That's why we are attorneys. We know how to handle those things. So the sale of property and the loans and the gift, those documentation has to be done. Now in Sri Lanka, the requirement is, you can send money 200,000 one time to a foreign investment. But due to COVID-19, that amount has been suspended till July of this year. Right now, it's only about 20,000 you can send for investment, but after July, we are expecting with the vaccination going on, it go back to where it was, $200,000 you can send one time for investment. So if it's a 900,000, you may have to have few family members getting together and sending that money. And or if you have a bank account in Singapore where you're doing your money is accumulated legally there, or Dubai or Abu Dhabi or anywhere in the world, now that money you can use, there are no restrictions using
all right. Well, that's a good explanation on the source of funds for
and
sure.
in India 250,000.
Yes.
But that's per year. So you can do 2 times. But then you can club it again. There are small restrictions on clubbing.
Right. So in India, I know that it's the per financial year.
Yes.
Sri Lanka also the $200,000. Is it like during a financial year, or it can be a number of times?
My research is it's per one time.
Okay.
You are eligible to, but I need to look into that a little bit further. What is the one time means? Is it 5 years, 4 years? But you can use several family members. Like you have a several family members coming together and sending that money perfectly all right. I assume I need to look deep into the regulations and see whether that's okay. I am pretty sure it's okay.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. That was a great explanation on EB5. Now that we see here is a visa bulletin, which is extremely important for one who's filing EB5, or basically I would say any visa category, as you can see here. Shiro, would you like briefly walk us through, especially I see EB5 non-regional center and EB5 regional center. What does it mean and how does it matters for each and every country?
Okay. Now, visa bulletin is something that you get to when you are going to get the green card. Okay. So before you look at this, you have to have a immigrant visa approved. Either it's I-140, I-130, family based, I-140, employment based, investor based, I-526. As I said earlier, if your I-526 has been approved, then you get a conditional green card. In order to get the conditional green card, your visa bulletin is where you go in to check whether you are eligible. Now, if you see C anywhere, and El Salvador, you see China mainland, that means if you were born in China, this column applies to you, okay? If you're born in El Salvador, Honduras, this column is applied. India, this column, like that. But all chargeability areas are the countries which are not named here. So Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nepal, in South Asia, all belongs to all chargeability except India.
Oh, that's
Okay?
great. So it's basically immediate availability of visa.
Yes. Now, if you see first, second, third category, India is backdrop, but when it's come to fifth non-regional and fifth regional center, both India and Sri Lanka and Pakistan and everywhere, they are current. That means if you have your I-526, you can immediately go and get your conditional green card through the 260 pilot, which is called a Dhs 260 process. If you're abroad, if you're in the United States, and if you're on F1, rich father sponsored the son, right, or the daughter, she's in F1, then what it means is you file I-485 in the United States right away. Okay, there are two different processes. So now, then you get the conditional green card. You come here, then you're going. So non-regional center and regional center means non-regional center is what I said last time. You do it by yourself, right? You meet all the statutory requirements. You invest in 2 years. You make the money at risk. You create the 10 jobs and all that. Creating towards the 10 jobs, all that. Regional center is you give the money to a company, established company, such as CMB, and you go through that, they will invest, and when that I-526 is approved, then you come here and continue your life. If you are a software professional, you continue your software industry. If you are a whatever doctor, you want to sit for MCAT and do your medicine, you go ahead and do that thing. And while CMB is taking care of all that stuff. What are the advantages of doing through a regional center and non-regional center? Few. I want to point out that no headache in the commercial part. As I told, I have seen a lot of clients who are coming in and starting on their own. And then when I come to conditions to remove, they say, oh man, I could not prepare the business. This time happened, that happened. I could create the 10 jobs. So it comes to those issues. I have seen that day in and day out. But the regional center like CMB, I have worked with our guys several times. It has been smooth and we have got things done. So this is the major difference. Now, suppose you invest in the United States. You're building a Marriott. You got the Friday, you're building a Marriott. After building, the jobs you create, such as receptionist, front desk, janitorial staff, housekeeping, those are the 10 jobs you can count. But if you invest in a regional center, which was building a huge 5-star hotel, they can count construction workers, constructors, all indirect jobs towards that 10 jobs. So they have the capacity to count the construction workers. They have a capacity to count the indirect job, but not if it's a direct, right?
Okay, so that's the main requirement for EB5. So
the main requirement is 10 job. People I see failing on the next step on the individual is they are struggling to create the 10 jobs. You don't, sometimes a gas station, even a hotel, you don't need 10 jobs. And you may not know, even in a gas station here, the industry, you don't need 900,000 to invest.
Right.
You can invest 200,000 and start a gas station and operate and go on that, right? So that's the thing. And also, your regional center business plans and the investment programs have been pre-approved by the USCIS. Yours, no. If you're individual, you have to send it, then they approve. This has been pre-approved by the USCIS, eligible for investment, and the potential they have evaluated. Yeah, this has the potential of creating the so-called 10 jobs. And we as attorneys, we have worked with your guys so much, so we know, we trust you guys.
All right. No, thank you.
CMB is one of the oldest and great regional sectors to work.
Well, that's a good explanation on the bulletin. Thank you, Chiro. Now that we know, Chiro explained it very well, that what's a regional center, what's a non-regional center, EB5. I would like to introduce you today to CMB Regional Centers. CMB basically stands for California Military Base or Close Military Base, founded by Mr. Patrick Hogan. CMB, why was it named California Military Base? Is because it was our very first EB5 project back in 1997. And since then, Mr. Patrick Hogan, the founder, decided to name it as CMB. And we have had about over 23 years of experience in the EB5 industry. As you can see on the screen, we have assisted for more than 5,700 investors from 102 countries, and we have over 4,900 of I-5 to 6 approvals and over 1,500 of I-8 to 9 approvals. I really want to mention this, that the numbers which you're seeing, we get audited by an independent third party, and we'll be happy to share a report with interested prospects as well. We also have a 100% project approval success ratio. Our team is made of more than 50 members who speak more than 15 languages. And apart from this, we have our own in-house project team, our own set of economists who work on the projects. And we also have a legal team for compliance as well. As now you know that, you can either invest $900,000 or 1.8 million. But apart from that, one needs to know that there is going to be an associated cost. It can be the regional center fees, or it can be attorney fees. It can also be application fees. So one has to keep in mind that it's just not the $900,000 or 1.8 million, but additional expenses as well. To talk about our current project, which we have open in the market for subscription, is CMB Group 75. CMB Group 75, basically we are developing a build-to-suit commercial warehouse in Detroit, Michigan, and we are raising about 26 million as EB5 loan for this particular project. For this project, we have collaborated with Hillwood Development, and Hillwood Development, the borrower or the developer, founded by Ross Perot Jr. in 1988, is one of the top 10 real estate developers in the United States. Hillwood is basically known for their public-private high-profile ventures. And if we talk about CMB and Hillwood's collaboration in the past, we have successfully collaborated in 31 CMB partnerships, or I would say 31 EB5 projects with Hillwood, out of which 25 have already received either I-5 to 6 or either I-9 to 4 approvals. 7 of them have already received I-8 to 9 approvals, and 14 of them wherein the developer has already repaid the loan, which went out initially. So this another Group 75 is our 32nd partnership with Hillwood. And to give you more details on the project, it's basically in Wayne County in Michigan, and they are building a single class A modern build-to-suit warehouse. The warehouse is actually getting constructed for one of the Fortune 500 e-commerce. The total capital spending on this project is around 88 million, whereas the EB5 loan is going to be 26 million. The best or the key factor about this project is the job generation. As Chiro emphasized earlier, the 10 number of jobs is extremely important for that investor investing in EB5. Here we are claiming more than 500 jobs. So the buffer ratio is fantastic. And in fact, not only this project, we try to create a buffer ratio for each and every project. We do not want to stick to that 10 job for each investor. We try to generate more and more jobs to make sure that the filing applicant gets the green card and they do not have to face any issues when it comes to job generation. So this particular project, we are actually claiming more than 500 jobs. So that's like 17 jobs per investor. What about the loan model? Normally, when you're looking into EB5 or a regional center, there can be two types of loan models: equity model or a loan model. At CMB, we basically follow a loan model where a CMB affiliate forms a CMB limited partnership, which is the new commercial enterprise, as Chiro mentioned earlier. And this new commercial enterprise is going to execute a loan agreement with the project developer. So let's say in this scenario for Group 75, the project developer can be Hillwood, right? The job creating entity. The project developer is going to take the EB5 loan, 26 million, invest it into the project and construct the project. And the loan term for CMB loan terms are basically 6 years. Maybe it's the current project or even our projects in the past. All the loan terms always has been 6 years. The investors who are interested in investing in this project, they are going to be limited partners in that limited partnership. And the limited partnership details all the rights, responsibilities, duties of the general partner as well as the limited partner. Now, once when someone decides that, okay, I have the funds, I want to pursue EB5, we briefly mentioned about I-526, in consulate interview, I-829. But what is the immigration process and who adjudicates all this application? Chiro, would you want to like walk us through this immigration process and what's our role or what's your role when an application is getting adjudicated?
Yes, I-526 application is where, as I said earlier, we show the USCIS that you have invested the required 900,000 into the project already, and money has been transferred, and the project is a commercial project which qualifies the means of statutory standard, and it has the ability, or it has already created the required numbers of jobs. So these are the main areas that we prove to the USCIS here in the United States. So we filed I-526. That package is about this.
Oh, wow.
When it goes with all the documentation, economic impact documentation, feasibility study, loan agreements, first loan agreements, your documentation where you prove from where you got the money. Then it goes. When that is approved, as I said earlier, if you are in the United States at that point on a different visa category, then you file the AOS application in the United States with the US. But if you're abroad, you're in Sri Lanka or India or Dubai or Abu Dhabi, then what we do is we take the approval of the I-526 and go to the US consulate there and say file, which is called a Dhs 260, and get your green card at the consulate, immigrant visa, and when you come with that to the United States and get your green card. Then after 2 years of your commercial work, before the second anniversary of your card, you're getting a conditional green card. Remember? So you have to file what is called I-829 to the USCIS and say, hey, USCIS, that is here, not at the consulate. Hey, USCIS, I've done my commercial enterprise here. I invested, money is still in the game. It is still in the commercial enterprise. And we have created the said magic number of jobs. So give my now permanent green card. So then you say, okay, check mark. Yes, your permanent green card and job.
All right. So you mean to say USCIS is the one who adjudicates this application? So when I see this I-526 processing time and the I-829 processing time and look at the months, I mean, I think all the different attorneys, they do say that the I-526 takes about 1.5 to 2 years, or maybe I-829 takes the same time as well, 1.5 to 2 years. This timeline is something given by the USCIS, the one who adjudicates the application. What would you say on this? Like, is this the reality, or this is just something they uploaded, or how does it work?
I mean, the reality is in about 2 years. I mean, they are those days, it was taking very short time, but now because there are a lot of applications coming in, And 2 years is, I would say, is the amount of time you get to get the I-526 approved if you're going through a regional center, in general, okay? But the USCIS don't want to, that's why they put 44 months. Now, if you're not from China, that is, okay? China is a little bit more because there are so many applications from China. So they have differentiated the two lines according to when they change the numbers from 500,000 to 900,000 in November, they separated the two lines. So, they don't want to get any inquiries from attorneys like us, bothering the USCIS, going through the senators, hitting on their head, hey, get this application on. So that's why they put the 44 months. So we cannot submit an inquiry and bother them until the 44 months goes. But in reality, it's about 2 years it gets. Now, the same here with I-829. You must remember one thing. Now, you get your green card in 2 years, right? And then your 2 years you spent here. And then again, another 2 years, you get the I-829 approved. Already you have 5 years. Turn around and you file your citizenship.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Get your permanent card, boom, you turn around and file the N400 because you already fulfill your 5 years.
I see. I see. So that's an advantage.
Yes.
That's great. That's great. The very important question, which I'm sure everybody wants to have an opinion on it. We are in the post-Trump era now. We are in Biden's administration. And I know it not has been like that long that we would know exactly what are the plans. But what do you think when it comes to immigration? I feel he's pro-immigration, but then, people would like to know his administration policy or what are his thoughts when it comes to EB5.
He's pro-immigration. He's already sent a huge immigration bill into the Congress.
Right.
To approve it. I don't know whether it will get approved, but at least he has the guts to send that immediately, and he did that. So he's a true supporter of the immigrants. Now, I am very encouraged by the fact that he appointed Alejandro Mayorkas as the DHS Secretary. As you know, immigration, USCIS comes under Department of Homeland Security.
Right. Yes.
So Alejandro Mayorkas, originally from Cuba, is an immigrant himself, and he's the Secretary of DHS right now. He was the former Deputy Director of DHS under Obama administration. And Alejandro Mayorkas is the guy who had the EB5 section long time ago. I can remember I submitted some documents. He's the one who really shaped up the EB5 section when it was just staggering, when the EB5 has been there for a long time. For example, prior to Mayorkas' time, when he led the EB5 program, was underutilized EB5 program. There was only less than 800 applicants applied in 2007. That's how EB5 program was very underdeveloped. No one knew how the things were. But Mayorkas really got the program going. And it just boomed. The regional centers boomed. Actually, he was the man who got these regional centers going. And in 2014, for the first time, USCI received 10,000 applications on the EB5. So I have a lot of faith with Secretary Mayorkas. And also, one more thing I forgot. USCIS, though it's not official, they favor regional centers or non-regional centers.
Yes. Thank you. No, so thank you so much, Chiro. What an insightful presentation for sure. So now we have ended our presentation right now, and we open the podium for Q&A. Please go ahead and write your any questions in the Q&A section, and one by one we can start taking in.
We have about 5 questions, I guess.
Yes. Let me just stop the, yeah. I think that will be easier. Okay, so Someone is asking, what are the changes expected in the EB5 program as it comes up for the renewal this year in Congress? Hero, do we have?
I think in June 30th, every time the EB5 program is attached to the budget, that's how the government get funded. It is EB5 program is not only the EB5 program, even the R1 program, religious worker program, is also attached to the budget. If the government shuts down, then the EB5 program shuts down temporarily. So what are the chances of the government shutting down? Temporary for political reasons it is. So it will. I believe it will. It has been getting extended every time. So it will continue to get extended, and most probably they will put it separately, the law, pretty soon. I hope so. Under Marcus, again, I'll hand to Marcus. He's hell-bent on the EB5 program. He led the EB5 program. I have a lot of faith on that, and I don't have any doubts of its being extended.
Okay. The next question, I think I can take this one. It says, can an EB5 investment be made for more than one person in a family? Can two siblings over the age of 21 make a joint investment? So yes and no. Can an EB5 investment be made for more than one person in a family? Yes. So basically how EB5 works is that if there is a filing applicant, let's say a father, there can be dependence on that one application. So once the father gets the green card, the spouse, so wife can get the green card, as well as children below the age of 21 years can get the green card as well. Now your next question brings me to this answer that if two siblings over the age of 21 can make a joint investment. No. If there are two siblings over the age of 21, they have to invest separately. So there has to be one investment made for one for $900,000, and the other one also has to make for $900,000. It cannot be a joint investment. The one investing the amount should be the full owner of that capital, which is $900,000. We have another question which says, is the country of birth or citizenship count when the EB5 application gets processed? Does the full amount of funds need to be at risk on day one? Okay, so I can take the at-risk question, but as Chiro mentioned earlier, the birth country matters. Your passport does not matter. The birth country matters. If you are an Indian, born in India, but if you have a passport of China, remember Chiro said earlier, the Chinese applicants have a wait for more than 2 years. That's okay. That won't be applicable to you because you're born in India. So the birth country matters when it comes to EB5. Does the full amount of funds need to be at risk on day one? So at risk requirement, I would say yes and no. It has to be at risk. You have to be fully invested from the time you file EB5 application, that is I-526. Now that doesn't mean that if you invest, let's say $400,000 today, you don't have to invest the $500,000 immediately the second day. For example, people in India, they have a financial year of March, April. So a lot of Indian clients, they transfer the $400,000 mostly in March, and the remaining amount will come in $500,000 will come in April. That being said, you have to be fully invested by the time you file the application. So we can wait for about a few days or even a month, but you cannot file that application unless and until you're fully invested. So you have to be fully at risk from the day the I-526 is getting filed. The next question is, are people already in the undocumented status eligible for EB5? Shiro, you might want to help here.
If they are in the United States, no, they can. I mean, they can file I-526 and get it approved, but they cannot get the adjustment of status done on a green card. However, if that person is a 245I qualified, under the 245I section qualified, that means if he had application pending before April 30th, 2001, and or his parents had application which were been denied, and at that time you're a child, you can give grandfather, or if you're married, there are a whole bunch of stuff. That's where we come in. If you're qualified under 245I, then yes, you will be eligible to do it. Now, under the new immigration bill what Biden has put forward, they are talking about reauthorizing 245I section, which has been expired, and getting it upwards. And so if that happens, yeah, it all depends on the situation. But if you're undocumented, you don't have the option of using 245I, no, you had to go to the consulate and get it, because no sooner you leave, you get a 10-year bar because you have been out of studies for more than 1 year. However, if you have a US citizen wife or a US citizen wife or a US citizen parent or a legal permanent resident, then you can apply for which is called I-601A waiver and get your green card.
Okay, okay. Uh, then there is next question. Are gifts from parents considered to be legitimate source of funds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, as long as we can source the parents from.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, we need to source from where did the parents got those money. Now, if your father is a big doctor or a huge lawyer or a huge businessman in your country, and he has accumulated the funds and he gifted to you and you invested.
Right, right. Do you have to stay in the US during the EB5 process?
No, not necessarily. You know, if you are in the US, you better be in studies. I have seen these fathers sending money and investing on behalf of giving money to the son or the daughter who is studying in the United States, and they get the green card. So when they graduate, maybe they're studying to be a doctor or whatever the thing. They already have a green card. Boom, they go into the job market without a problem.
So that brings me to the next question, which is very easy to answer. Someone is asking that if the US funds, that is the $900,000, can be used for investment, or the funds must be from outside United States. So it really depends from case to case basis, correct?
Yeah, if you have a business in the US and you generated, and also there are certain Security Exchange Commission laws and regulations. When the money was accumulated in the USA, we had to meet. Am I correct, Prachi?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The net worth and all that stuff. But yes, you can use it, especially if it's a gift. Yeah, no issue.
Right. The next question is, okay, this is a good one. What about dependent parents? Can they be part of the single application?
No.
Yes.
No, parents cannot be part of. Now, when you become a citizen, you can file for the parent. Okay, immediately you can file. Now, in the previous question, as a green card holder, you can file for your parents. You can't file for your parents. You can file for your children who are not married.
Right. The next one, I can take this question. Will the projects carry a minimum ROI by CMB or by the developer? So the ROI comes because of the loan. Remember, I walked you through the loan model, and there is a loan agreement. So since it's a loan agreement, there has to be an interest. You're loaning some amount, so there has to be an interest which the interest rate is mentioned in the loan agreement, and the developer carries a minimum ROI, which is paid to the limited partnership and then distributed further within the GP and the LP. All the ROI is mentioned in the respective partnership for each and every project. So I would welcome anyone who's interested in learning more about our projects to reach out to me. We have initial protocol to sign an NDA, and we can provide all the project related documents wherein it will provide each and every information you are looking for. The next question is, do I have to pay taxes on the EB5 investment which is made once I come to US?
Amanta, you since you only are liable for U.S. tax laws when you come to United States and become a green card holder. So before that, whatever you invested, obviously any profits you're receiving after you become a green card holder, you're subject to your taxes. And if you return, get the money returned, then you are getting it as a green card holder. Now, if there are tax treaties between USA and Sri Lanka and India, now you may be exempted on those tax treaties according to certain sections. So those are things we have to look further into tax exemption. But whatever you are investing from India while you are not a green card holder, you're not subject to it.
All right, all right. Once I get a conditional green card, can I travel back to my home country?
Yes, you can. I mean, green card holders can go back and forth if they need to, but only thing is you should be not abandoning your green card. Suppose you want to be here and you just have to have the green card, but you want to be permanently in your country, you can have your business. You can travel up and down. No one is going to stop that. People understand that, right?
Right.
But if you want to, if you're going to stay in your country for over a year continuously, then it's a problem. So without having what is called a travel document. Now, the travel document, you can't get it until you get a permanent residence. I don't think conditional green cards are eligible for a travel document.
Right.
So you can go back and forth any amount you want. I mean, as a businessman, you may be going for 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, 6 months. I would not advise anyone to go beyond 6 months. If you go, that's fine, but you have to have real evidence why you've been out of it. Remember, if you've been out of the country for more than 6 months, when you go to the naturalization level, we have to jump over some hoops.
Right. Another interesting question. If the EB5 petitioner dies after filing I-526, but before any kind of I-526 or I-829 approval, do the derivatives get the green card or do they get kicked out of the petition?
Very interesting question. It's
Yes,
going to push me
absolutely.
for some research, but but there is a 204L section in the USCIS, which is valid for I-140s and I-130s, where you can, what do you call, application dies with the petition, if the petitioner dies. But you can ask to, I can't remember the name, but you call it, reconsider and reinstate the petition in certain instances. For I-130s and I-140s, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure about the I-526, okay? But I'm being honest with that. I need to do some research on that. But I-130s, I-140s, yes. And if you're here, the beneficiaries can continue with it. But first, the USCIS has to reinstate the application on the I-130s and I-140s. But I'm not sure about the I-526. I doubt it. But I think the investment I don't know, the investment part, but the green card part, unless we change the investment to the wife's name, and because the inheritance under estate law and trust laws, if it transfers, his inheritance transfers to the wife,
Exactly.
then we can go ahead and reapply for I-526.
Exactly. So even our documents mention about in case of a death of the primary applicant, what are the steps the family need to take further in case if they want to pursue the application or in case if they would like to, make a withdrawal. There are different steps mentioned in our agreement as well because life is unpredictable, so we all know anything can happen. Um, We'll take this one last question for today, and it's about direct EB5. They're asking what does it take for an individual business investment to be approved by USCIS as an EB5 investment?
Same thing I said earlier, you need
Right.
to invest that 500,000. Now it is a little bit stricter because you're not coming through a business plan which has been pre-approved by the USCIS. So you have to present that you have transferred the 900,000, same source of money. You have invested that 900,000 or in the process of investing that 900,000. And then you have this business which you have envisioned, and this business plan is going to create the required 10 jobs and sustain the investment throughout that period, and going to make economic impact to the surrounding communities. You have to get a huge business plan, and then USCI is going to review that and your investment, and if it meets that, yes. Now, remember, you have to do all this while being there. So I don't know how you're going to do unless you have a very trustworthy partner whom you're going to willing to part with 1.9 crore.
Correct. I think that has been an exciting webinar today. Really great questions from our attendees. Thank you so much, everyone who attended today's webinar. Thank you, Chiro. An insightful conversation I've had today. Great things to learn about EB5 as well. Good immigration questions asked from the attendees. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen again and try to share the contact information with you guys for some time so you can take a note of it. And you can contact us if you plan to, if you have any plans to pursue EB5, or if you want to reach out to Chiro, then reach out to Chiro for any immigration questions. Happy to answer whatever you guys need when it comes to EB5. So let me just go ahead and pull out the contact information. So contact info.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, contact information for Chiro is right here on the screen. And contact information for CMB is here as well. Again, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Chiro. Have a good day. Have a good evening. Have a good rest of the evening, whoever is in Sri Lanka or India. Yeah, thank you once again.
Thank you, Prachi. Good evening, everyone around there, and good morning. Have a good day. Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.